Sometimes change is bad. Most of the time, change is bad. However, tonight, I think I can say with full objection that change isn't the worst thing, because yours truly at Bears Fanatic 194, Wyatt and Julius at the Cornelia 7 at the fifth top, almost spaced out there. We are back to recording on Monday nights from here on out. This was the original day, ladies and gentlemen, that we used to record, a few months back, and now we went to Wednesdays, but now we're back to Monday nights, just like how we started back, almost a year and a half ago. So, on point discussion for today, Monday, June 7th, 2021. For those who are watching us on the live stream, as you can see, we got a little. We got our OPD background up and going now. I don't know if I'm sure Wyatt and Julius, you guys can see that now. We got this little. I had to switch it up a little bit. I was sick of the dark background we had up until this point, and I was like, you know what? I'm gonna play around with this before we go live. I'm gonna see if I can upload this the picture, and here it is for you guys. On point discussion background. Looks good. It looks good. But yes, lots to talk about. Yours truly had a crazy weekend. We'll get to that here in a little bit. I already see Brandon is dropping comments in the live chat here, looking good. We appreciate you, Brandon. And speaking of Brandon, actually, since he's on here real quick, I know Julius and Wyatt were also watching this yesterday, but the guys, Brandon and our co-host Rhino, who unfortunately could not be here tonight, had their first ever live event at at Coyotes bar up in Belgium, Wisconsin, which is about 40 minutes north here of the city. Excellent job. They did awesome yesterday. The crowd who was there loved it. I mean, it was absolutely fantastic, and I got to be there for that, and it was a pleasure to, of course, watch Brandon and Rhino, two talented individuals, do their live show at the sports bar, and of course, lots of Busch lattes, of course, as well. So, Adam is saying good evening, guys. I see that Francisco Castro, shout out to him and his pod, of course, saying he watched some of it, so it was pretty neat. Yes, it was. But before we dive in any further, I want to ask my two awesome co-hosts. How was your weekend, guys? How are you? Happy Monday. Happy start to your work week. Julius, what's going on, man? How are you?
How's it going down in Texas? Everything's going great. I would also like to commend the Titletown Lounge on a great show. I was tuning in on that. Shout out to Brandon and Rhino. You guys did a wonderful job. And I'm gonna keep listening. But hey, I'm sorry. Hey, it wasn't no trash talk involved. Don't listen to Wyatt. I made only sensible comments about the teams. That's what I do. Okay. Don't make me roast you.
It's like they started. I actually had no idea. I had no idea that Julius was even in the live chat. I really didn't. And then, literally, like 5 minutes ago, he told us, ladies and gentlemen, that Julius and that you guys were both in the live chat in there, and I'm like, I should have been looking in the chat more, because if I would have seen you guys punching air on there, I probably would have joined you. But again, I was there live. I got this, I was literally sitting right next to them, and it was a fantastic event. And so again, my high praise to them. But Wyatt, how are you? Happy Monday. How was your weekend, sir?
It was good. Saturday went up to the mountains, took our son hiking, some new scenery. Ventured to a brewery that I like up there. Mountains, or I should say the forest, is about an hour and a half from where I live. We got a cabin up there, me and my family, but it was nice to get out. Yesterday was pretty busy, but I enjoyed the Titletown Lounge. That was good. I was surprised to see Julius on there, and then he started mouthing off about our Bears won. And I'm like,
really?
Is Julius, like, ever since we drafted Justin Fields, like, Julius is just, like, attacking the Bears, And granted, I know the Lions are in a better place.
That's because he knows what's coming. It's because he knows what's coming. That's
only
why. Anyway,
sensible
sorry, keep going.
comments, fellas. Only
Okay,
sensible.
I get it. You guys got a bunch of draft picks, and we just like mortgage our future a little bit on 2 draft picks. But
You're going to use this opportunity, Wyatt, to attack me this early on.
No, I'm not attacking you, but
the
I really,
Town Lounge.
I really enjoyed the show, and I thank Brandon for not taking it too hard on Bears Twitter, because sometimes some Bears Twitter fans can be a little extreme with their comments about Justin Fields and Aaron Rodgers comparisons. So,
I'm really glad you actually. I know we usually, ladies and gentlemen, normally we do sports on the second half of the show, approximately 35 minutes in. But I mean, if this is kind of the direction we're going to do this real quick, I might as well. I have to drop some tidbits in here from Saturday. So I was in the Windy City on Saturday, enjoying my day. It's a hot day outside. It was 95 degrees, lots of cold beer at this amazing brewery, which I actually do not remember the name of off the top of my head, so I can't give them a shout out. But they're on the north side of Chicago. I'm sitting out there. I am baking in the sun. I got 95. It's hot. I'm just trying to enjoy myself. Just hop on the Twitter, and I happen to see all of these Bears fans attacking a poor Packer fan on Twitter, who happens to be Rhino, for those who don't know. Here's the thing, okay? My fellow Bears fans, I get it. Justin Fields season. I hear you. I want the man to succeed. Wyatt, I know obviously he wants him to succeed. We're rooting for him. But Jesus Christ, guys! I mean, there are things that you can be optimistic, but you have to also be realistic at the same time. All right, there's no room for being delusional, because then we get clowned, and then it comes back to haunt us. And I think as Bears fans, we need to do better at not overhyping this man up, because God forbid, what happens if he fails? And we're all, again, it's going to come back. It's going to bite us in the ass. We're going to look horrible, and it's not going to be pleasant. It's not going to be fun. And then you're going to have people like Julius, who are going to come on this show every Monday night and roast the hell out of us, because he's going to go all with it. Oh, we were right, which isn't going to happen, because Julius, the Lions are. I don't have high hopes for them.
I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't do that to you guys, Juan. Okay, I wouldn't. I would counsel y'all. Okay, I would let y'all know what the real deal is. I'm a Lions fan. I've had the most heartbreak, so I know. Listen, there's a chance. Y'all got a chance. That's all I'm gonna say. Y'all have a chance. Y'all have a chance.
But that's all I'm gonna say on that end. I caution my fellow Bears fans to not overly hype this man just yet, because it's true, he hasn't played a single snap in the NFL yet. We have to, let's tone it down a little bit. Let's wait till at least the preseason, see what he's got. We'll make our determinations there. Let's stop. I think we need to stop worrying so much about what's happening 101 miles toward the north of Milwaukee, here up in Green Bay. I think let's gotta keep everything separate, ladies and gentlemen. So we'll get back to the sports, though. We're gonna get back to sports in the second half, and I know Julius tonight is in charge of the final talking point, and I know he's got a good one from one of our group chats actually here on the Lounge Room Network. But I won't spoil it. I will not spoil it. So, first topic of the night, exclusively on Point Discussion, is powered by our friends over at One Call Technology. I will drop their phone number here in a second, but before I forget, remember to follow the Twitter page for the pod at Talks on Point. Follow the network at Lounge Room Net. All right. Busy week, ladies and gentlemen. A lot of political stuff is happening, as is always the case here in the United States. But very important to the discussion tonight includes the grand old COVID-19 vaccine, which of course continues to make news nationally and internationally. So what do we know so far? So booster shots will most likely be needed, right, with the COVID vaccine, regardless of which one you got, Pfizer, Moderna, I believe Johnson & Johnson also. But is the vaccine, vaccine use, is it being politicized? Is it being overly politicized? we can talk about, we can touch on that a little bit. I know earlier this afternoon, the three of us read, or we saw a post by Marquette University here in Milwaukee that is basically saying, right, that if you don't have a vaccine, or if you're not fully vaccinated, you cannot return to in-person learning next fall, right? So what is that? Is that a publicity stunt? Is it actual safety measure? I mean, what are we? So what exactly is going on here? What's happening? So we'll start breaking it down. Again, feel free to drop in some comments. I know a lot of you who are watching are very politically inclined, and are also keeping track of what's happening across the world and across our country. So drop us a comment in the live stream. Tell us where you're watching from. Where you're tuning in from. If you're having a drink, yours truly is not drinking tonight. But if you are, feel free to drop that in too. We're always wanting to see what everyone's up to. So let's go ahead and talk vaccines real quick. Julius, we'll start with you. What are your thoughts on this? This push to vaccinate America and to get everyone in line with at least one dose of the vaccine, moving forward.
Well, Juan, it's pretty simple to me. Okay. Of course, it's politicized. Of course, it's politicized. This entire pandemic was politicized. So, of course, the vaccine is politicized. I mean, this is the thing. I just don't want it to go authoritarian directions, okay? And so we're talking about Marquette University and these other schools who are saying to their students, you can only come to school, you can only register and show up to school if you're fully vaccinated. See, that's pushing a little too authoritarian for my taste, personally. You know what I'm saying? Even though these are just pandering statements, by the way, because in these statements, there's also revisions for if your religious or personal convictions compel you not to get vaccinated, then that's okay. You can come to school anyway. So they're just making these statements to these companies, these universities, these media outlets, social media. They're making these statements to pander to a certain demographic, to a certain political party. It's clearly simple. It's just right in our face. I believe the number for vaccinated adults is at 64%. That's a high number, man. I'm really I'm surprised it's that high that fast, to be honest. And that's an age group, right, by the way. But there's a sizable portion of the American population that is not going to get vaccinated. I would say at least 25% are not going to get vaccinated. And a lot of those people that's not going to get vaccinated are people of color, African Americans, Hispanics, or poor people. They tend to not care, just like they tend to not vote, or be educated on voting. They tend to not be as educated on medical, in the medical sense. I come from the community, so I know. And I think only 22% of the Black adult population has been vaccinated so far. So you see there's a lot of variables. You have race, you have politics, you have a lot of things that makes this story what it is. But simply put, this thing has a side to it, just like everything else does. Politics politicize and polarize us in every way in American life today.
I'm seeing a comment that our friend Adam is dropping in here on the live stream. I just want to read it, read or paraphrase it before we go to Wyatt here for his thoughts. But basically, Adam's wife is a teacher, so of course my tip my hats off to our American educators here in the country. There's certain shots students have to have before attending public schools. So what is the difference? Well, I think part of the reason that there is so much polarization with regards to this particular vaccine is because of how quick and how rapidly it came out. So there's a lot of people who just, quite frankly, just don't trust the experts in this. I mean, as bad as that sounds, right? That's a big component to why people don't want to get the shot. Here in Milwaukee, I've talked to plenty of individuals who who share that same sentiment, right? That who don't want to get the shot because they just don't know what are the long-term risks going to be moving forward. It's just a very polarizing topic, and my continued fear in this country, and even around the world, right, is that you're going to start to see another division or another rift, because you're going to have people who are vaccinated basically going up against people who aren't, and it's, are we going to start clashing? I mean, are vaccinated people going to start, publicly humiliating those who don't want to get vaccinated? I mean, it's happening as it is, but how far is it going to go? I think that's what we need to start to think about, just like with the mask wearing, right? You have people who don't want to wear a mask, and quite frankly, if you don't want to wear a mask, I mean, that's your decision. Like, you don't want to, you don't have to. But I don't think we should be harassing those who are, in the same regard that we shouldn't be harassing those who aren't, right? So I think having an understanding in that sense, I think is important in the long term. Wyatt, go ahead with your thoughts, sir.
As far as, like the requirements for students to attend school with certain shots that they have to get, when you have a kid, they have to get shots, at, I believe, starting at 3 months, 6 months, 9 months, and stuff like that. And that's just to protect them, because their immune systems aren't fully developed yet. But, the coronavirus or the COVID-19 is fairly new. So I think, like you said, you need more research in order for them to see, is this something that's going to be mandated? I know there are middle school and high school kids that can now take the vaccine, and there's already some that have started taking it. Like I've had students saying they had their second shot, their first shot, whatever like that. And and now there's more prevalence with people that are anti-vaxxers. I have a lot of friends that I'll see post on Instagram or Facebook that are against vaccines. And there's a case to be made to think about, well, I don't get the flu. No, some people don't take the flu shots. Like, I don't get the flu, so why take the flu shot? Well, there's the argument where people say, well, there's enough people that get it, and that's why you're not getting it seasonally, like some people, get the flu every year or get the flu shot. So it's definitely interesting to see. I mean, you take a vaccine for measles, right? You take 2 shots for measles, and then you don't have to take it for the rest of your life because your immune system develops the immunity to it. So it's very interesting. Again, we thought COVID-19 was going to have a pretty bad death rate, but it doesn't. People aren't as afraid as they were when this first came out and we went out on lockdown. So as far as like getting a COVID-19 type of booster shot, I think there still needs to be a little bit more research being done. It's still fairly new. We just had we've had the Moderna and Pfizer for I don't know how many months, 6 or 7 months it's been out. So it's still fairly new. My feeling is that we'll still have to get booster shots. It's probably going to be a yearly thing, just like the flu shot. There's different pathogens that affect our immune system in different ways. Okay, so getting sick once with the measles or the chicken pox, you don't get it again unless you're older and you get the shingles. That's like yeah. But I think that it just need more time. Research, doctors, scientists need more time to see. Okay, well, how long are these shots going to last? I know Moderna and Pfizer are the best ones out there, 78% effective rate. But how long will it last? So that's something that they have to definitely test and then see, if we're going to need booster shots or if you're just going to need a yearly shot from it. But the good news is there's light at the end of the tunnel. There's already a light pretty much because a lot of people have gotten the shots. You're going out without a mask. You're not seeing a bunch of places where COVID-19 is blowing up. Now, here's the thing where people are scared. They think, well, there's COVID-19 variants, right? There's that mutations, right? So what I've heard from the variants is that it's going to be more easy to transmit COVID-19 from person to person with the variants, but that doesn't mean it's going to affect you as bad as it would if you had the shot. That's what I've been hearing with the variant. So a lot of people are scared. Yeah, you're gonna transmit it from person to person, but again, it's not going to be as bad, the effects on getting COVID-19. So people are kind of scared about the variants or the mutations. Some people, even with shots, I've heard, are still wearing their mask just to be extra safe. But that's a whole nother thing that we can talk about as we get more light with the Fauci emails and and him on his thing with the mask.
It appears that we have a special guest on the show that I was not made aware of prior to the show beginning.
Sorry.
Shout out to Wyatt's son, who is joining us here on the show right now. Here's the thing. So I will speak from personal experience on this. I never took the flu shot. Before like 2018, I think 2019, whatever. Never took the flu shot. I never really got it. I just kind of winged it. Said, you know what? If I get it, I get it. Obviously, I wasn't going to be like, if I die, I die. But no, that's not where I was going with that. Yeah. I think part of the reason, again, the flu shot has been around forever, and I almost want to say, or I would almost be willing to say that this is probably a common theme with any new medication that comes out. And I'm sure in our past, we've seen this kind of resistance from the general public on wanting to get something, like this that was introduced, right? So, back in 55, I think it was, like when the polio vaccine came out, I'm sure there were large groups of people who said, no, I don't want to get polio vaccine. I mean, what are you guys putting in my body? So there's always resistance, right? There's always going to be that resistance. So the question here then is, how long is that resistance going to be around to want to get this vaccine? How far down the line are we talking? Is it going to take a year? Is it going to take 2 years? Is it going to take 3? Who knows? But polio is almost eradicated, right? And that's just been because of more awareness for the vaccine, more education. And I think that's what it's going to take for something like this COVID-19 vaccine to start getting more acceptance in society, is just that notion about educating people on what exactly, the vaccine is going to do. What are the long-term effects? I mean, there's so many questions out there that people still do not have answers to. So that uncertainty is certainly not helping in this case. Julius, any final thoughts before we move on to our next topic?
Well, that resistance might last forever, Juan, because you cannot make people do something. You cannot make people take a foreign agent and put it in their bodies. It's against the common will, the common freedom of everything we hold dear in this country. Okay, you cannot do it.
Right, and I get that. I'm not saying.
Well, I'm just saying that's why the resistance will always be there. That's why, especially for something so politicized as this. Was polio this politicized?
I don't know if polio wasn't. I wasn't alive in 1955. Okay, so then let me ask you this: how or when do we start to change the tide from from the majority of Americans not being vaccinated to a vast majority of Americans being vaccinated with this? Or can we even? I mean, can we even do that? Like, can we even do that? I mean, that's another question.
We could do that. It'd get a 70%, and it'll linger a little bit, and it'd be just like the flu. Okay, if people get resistance, who knows? We for years down the line, we'll see the antibodies, and we'll see how many people really had COVID. Could be in the tens, if not hundreds of millions in this country, had COVID and did not know it, and developed a resistance, a natural resistance against it. We don't know, but I think over time it start to go. I'd probably say less than a year, honestly.
Well, just to wrap this up here, and then we can move on to our next topic. But the over politicizing. Let me sound that out. The politicizing of this entire pandemic has certainly not helped in any way. Those thousands of emails that were leaked by Dr. Fauci a few days ago over the weekend, or in the past few days, where people are starting to read into those and kind of seeing what exactly was being said behind the scenes, that things like that definitely are not going to help. I've seen calls for Dr. Fauci to step down from his position in the White House that he has with now President Biden. Those are not the kinds of leaks that you need right now, or that's not the kind of information that you want out there, especially in this time where you already have a lot of Americans who are like, I don't want to trust Dr. Fauci. I mean, this guy flip-flopped at least 100 times throughout the past year. I mean, and I'm not saying that's my sentiment, right? I quite frankly, I have not read all of those emails that were put out there because of the the release or whatever, the Freedom of Information Act or whatever it's called. But what I can say is just that it's not really it certainly didn't help. I don't know. It's not good. Dr. Fauci is not. It's not the best look for him. I'll tell you that much. So it's
their
definitely
own
not
fault.
helping.
It's their own fault.
So, all right. Next topic: Senator Manchin of West Virginia. He is. I think it's West Virginia. I hope it's West Virginia.
It is.
And not just.
Yes.
Okay. All right. I had to check myself. I didn't want to spew fake news on point discussion. Senator Manchin is gradually becoming that one Democrat who is starting to sway a little bit. He's not really on board with every single thing that the Biden White House is putting out there. I don't know, guys. This is interesting because we have a sitting senator who, for all intents and purposes, right, is beginning to filibuster or block some of these bills that are coming through, right? The Democrat-led House up into the Senate. He vetoed, or essentially he killed President Biden's voting bill, and Democrats are perplexed. I mean, here is a strong Democrat from the great state of West Virginia, or Commonwealth state, I think it's state. He's putting a halt on a lot of these policies that Biden is trying to push, some of the stuff on his agenda. Well, what does that say about the larger overall Democratic Party? Are we starting to see a rift? I mean, I know it's just one senator, but even in the House, right, in the House of Representatives, you have congressmen from from the southern part of Texas who are also sending messages that you would think, or you would imagine, are more on the other side of the aisle. More of the, we need more border security. We need more action taken at the border. We got to stop allowing so many migrants to come across. I mean, these are Democrats that are starting to. I mean, are we starting to flip a tide here? I mean, are we starting to? What's going on? Whoever wants to go first, I'm curious to see if there's anyone watching who is as politically inclined as we are. Please, drop a comment. Tell us what you think about this. Like, is this going to start affecting the midterm elections that are going to be coming up here soon? They're almost here. So again, drop us a comment. Again, On Point Discussion live. We're about 30 minutes into the show. Julius or Wyatt, whichever one of you wants to go first, go ahead. This is a very open topic, so have at it.
I'll start it off. So this is something that I was hoping, or American people are hoping for, with our people that make policy, our senators and Republicans. We look for people that aren't going to try to benefit for their party or for themselves individually, but they're trying to do something that's going to make America better, make it better as a whole. They're working for us, okay? And so Tulsi Gabbard comes to mind as a former congresswoman that wouldn't always vote for the party lines, right? As a Democrat, she would always vote for something that would better America. And so I'm not really sure on too much of what Joe Manchin's policies are, but he did make a statement on why he was voting against it. He said he's been guided by the simple philosophy that our party labels can't prevent us from doing what is right. Okay, he says that the voting itself has become overly politicized recently. And he says the debate today is how to protect our right to vote, to hold elections. It's not about seeking partisan advantage, okay? Whether it's at the state level or at the federal level. So I like these comments from him. I can understand where he's coming from. And as Americans, when you go out to vote, a lot of people didn't go out to vote because they thought, well, it's going to be rigged, or what's the point? In the last election, even in the elections for congressmen and congresswomen out of Georgia over there, when they voted, a lot of people just stayed home. So I like this. So how can we make the voting better? I mean, when we had the Voting Writers Act, what was that, in the 70s or the 1969? That was like, you can't restrict anyone, no matter of race, color, religion. You can't restrict anyone to vote. But how can we make it better where it's not going to sway in one party's favor over another? How can we make it better for the American people? And so I'm glad that he's not voting for this, because I believe it does benefit the Democrats as opposed to benefiting the American people. So I'm happy that he's doing this because he's looking at the greater whole, which is America, and not just his party line.
I'm just waiting for the rebuttal from Julius. That's why I'm just sitting here silent.
The Lions. Oh wait, that's the wrong topic.
I'm always getting attacked for no reason. It started in the beginning of the show. Now we're right in the middle of the show. And I bet by the end of the show, I'm getting attacked again.
I can't. I mean, I just want to put this on the record right now. Someone in the comments is shouting you out, Julius. Look at that, Tommy J.
Yeah, that's my brother Tommy. Shout out my brother Tommy.
I want to just slide this in here real quick, ladies and gentlemen. It is such a pleasure to record this show week in and week out with these two, and with Rhino, of course, who again could not be here today. But the week itself is usually very stressful, and it's full of unwarranted events that happen to all of us, stress and work and all that. But coming on here to just have a good laugh, even if it is at the expense of Julius and his Detroit team, it's definitely worth it. So I sincerely appreciate the guys' support.
Back to Senator Manchin.
Yes, please, Senator Manchin, go ahead. That's what we're here for right now. Go ahead, please.
No, well, Wyatt alluded to a lot in his segment, and I agree with most of it. I mean, the Democratic Party has always been, progressive and moderate. It's always been that way for decades. So, of course, eventually you're going to have this, and of course, it's Senator Joe Manchin, who is a Democratic senator of West Virginia. West Virginia, I think Trump won that by like 73%. Okay, it's deep red. It's redder than red. It's almost like blinding red. You can't even look at it. It's so hot. That's how red West Virginia is. Okay, the whole state. So he has pressure back home. And what he's not willing to vote for, this Voting Rights Act. Okay, when you hear Voting Rights Act, you're like, who can disagree with a Voting Rights Act? Everybody wants voting rights, right? Of course, but it's certain things that's in that bill that moderate Democrats back in red West Virginia will have something to say to Joe Manchin about, particularly as it pertains to mail-in voting and as it pertains to the filibuster, which is the top on the progressive side's list, and not so much for the moderates, especially when you're from Red Cherry, West Virginia. So that's simply put what it stands for my end.
Mm-hmm. It's so interesting that in this deep red state of West Virginia, how they were able to manage to vote in a Democratic senator from that state. I mean, I probably to a lot of people, that's probably not a big deal, if you're looking at it. But you think about how deeply conservative a state like West Virginia is, and you have it, and it's being represented by Senator Manchin, who's a Democrat in Washington. It's always very strange to me how a lot of that works. Same with Georgia. I mean, Georgia is fully red, right? And then they go out and elect two Democratic senators. I mean, it's just
Juan. That's a great point. And by the way, with that point you just made, it goes back to Joe Biden, a former and longtime Democratic senator from Delaware. Back in the day, I say for a 40-year, 50-year span, Delaware was what they would call today a Republican state by all measures.
Right.
And back in the day when Joe Biden got elected senator, a lot of the Democrats were seen as, Delaware was seen as a Southern state, and Joe Biden was seen as a Southern Democrat senator. It wasn't so progressive like it is now. So, I mean, it's easy to see where all this friction coming from.
Yeah, it's time moves, time changes, and I think that's kind of where you're right. I would agree with you. I mean, there's going to be shifts in all of these, all of these states. I guess that we could even tie that to back in the day when the South used to vote Democrat and now they all vote Republican. The changing times per se. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know how big of a difference, Joe Manchin and his voting, the way he's voting now in the Senate, how big of an impact it's going to have.
Huge.
Moving forward. Yeah, it's going to be big. It's going to be huge.
No, but there's been some talk that he is getting so bullied by all these progressives on his side that he might switch to the Republican Party. And guess what that would imply? The Republicans own the Senate again, because it's the only Kamala Harris is the tiebreaker right now.
Yes.
So if Joe Manchin said, "I'm gonna be a Republican," there you go.
Here's the thing: is that the senators and the House of Representatives, what I've been told is it's like a high school clique, like they have their own little groups in each one, and they it's like they hate each other, and it's like high school all over again. That's what I'm bringing up Tulsi Gabbard. She was on the Joe Rogan show, and she would talk about the little cliques that they had in each one, and one time she was talking to one of the Republican senators. And of course, these Democrats from the House were making snide comments to her, like, "Why are you talking to that person? What's your agenda?" Like, they always had this little high school type of thing, and it's unfortunate that you have that at that level, that these people are running the federal government, are running they're making decisions for us. So what Julius is saying, I mean, I see it. I mean, it's something that's more than likely going on. So Julius is right on that aspect.
Well,
Julius
I'm glad he's right on some. I'm glad he's right on something.
Attack number 3.
Making a list.
Making a list.
Checking it
40
twice.
minutes. 40 minutes into the On Point discussion here on the Lounge Room Network. Again, if you're tuning in on the live stream here, drop us a comment. Shout out to Julius, his brother, for taking the time here to give his bro a comment here on the live stream. It's always appreciated. Of course, gotta love the brother.
Older or younger brother?
Younger brother. My little brother Tommy, my only awesome guy. Hazel Park Police Department. He does a lot. He's a veteran of U.S. Army. He's just a great guy. I love you, bro. Thanks for joining the show.
Absolutely, yeah. We always support. We always support the our fellow Americans in uniform, police, military. So yeah, that's awesome. And I tip my hat obviously to to everyone who serves, regardless of capacity, in one way or another for this country. So always well appreciated. And something else that we appreciate is good internet and good Wi-Fi. And for that, remember to hit up the guys over at One Call Technology down in Tennessee. Combined, the staff has over 100 years of experience in doing your internet and fiber optic service. Remember to give them a call at 1-888-585-8850. Tell them that On Point Discussion sent you, and they will hook you up with some fast and reliable wireless service. So with that being said, the sports commentary section for tonight's episode is powered by One Call Tech. Let's get right into it, guys. Big news story of the weekend yesterday. Julio Jones gets traded to the Titans. Titans sending a 2022 second round draft pick and a 23 fourth round selection to the Falcons. And along with Julio Jones, the Falcons will also be sending a 2023 sixth round pick up to Tennessee. I was on my way to the live show yesterday, up in Belgium, Wisconsin here, again 40 minutes north, and I was listening to the radio, and they announced it live on the radio, and then I looked down, just really quickly, just glanced at my phone, and I was already seeing it. My phone was just blowing up. Juan, did you see Julio? I was like. On a Sunday morning, I was like, okay, all right, wow. I was in shock. What do we think of this deal? Like, was it worth it? Did the team get fleeced? Did anyone get fleeced? I need to know.
Honestly, Atlanta, I think they thought they would get more for him than a second and was it a second and a fourth? And
it was a second and round and a fourth. Yep. So a 2022 second and a 23 fourth round. That was the.
And I believe they swapped their sixth rounder back for that fourth rounder. So
yes.
Yes. Julio Jones, you could say he's past his prime, and he can still dominate games when he's on the field. So Tennessee is going to have, when Julio Jones is healthy, Tennessee is going to have a lethal receiving core with AJ Brown over there and Corey Davis. Did they re-sign Corey Davis?
No, Corey Davis.
No, Corey Davis left. Okay, well, Julio Jones is a great replacement. I think they did lose Jonas Smith though, so they needed Julio Jones. Actually, this was a major move by Tennessee to be a part of the conversation in the AFC again, because people forget about Tennessee. Let's be honest. You got Ryan Tannehill. He was forgotten in Miami. Now he came to Tennessee and lit it up. You got, they're led by Derrick Henry. They're a team that's led by their running back, and he's had back-to-back rushing titles. But now you add Julio Jones. If he is healthy, that's just a big get for Tennessee. Just simply put, it's a big get. But is he going to play 6 games, or is he going to play 10? Or is he going to play 12? We'll see what the get back is a year from now. If he played 12 the 14 games or almost a whole season and put up Julio Jones type Pro Bowl numbers, had a Pro Bowl year, then Tennessee they pretty much robbed Atlanta. Robbed them blind and silly. But if Julio Jones get hurt in week 2 and don't play until week 9, and they get hurt again in week 10, and then he's out for the year, Atlanta, got some picks for somebody who wasn't going to play. So this is something you see, down the line, see what happens.
Go ahead.
Oh no, sorry. I just wanted to read off what Titans general manager John Robinson said yesterday after the trade happened. So, he's being described by Robinson as, he's a big dude. He's fast. He's tough. He's great with the ball in his hands. He's a willing blocker. I mean, obviously, Wyatt, I want you to say what you were going to say, but then, I want you to maybe address some of these physical attributes that he's getting described with. Is he really is he fast? Is he able to block? I mean, what are we? I know Julius just mentioned that he's, that he might be past his prime. He just made that comment a few seconds ago. But I want to know, does he still have it? I mean, is this what kind of Julio Jones are we going to get in Tennessee? I think that's the question that I'm begging to wonder what are we going to see? What exactly are we going to see from Julio Jones? Up in Tennessee.
I'll get to that point, but I play a lot of fantasy football. Me and Julius do. We try to get Juan on it, but maybe one of these days we'll get him drunk and then we'll.
Wow, y'all hang out without me. Damn. Okay, I did not know that. No. Okay. No.
Fantasy football.
Nope. Say what you're gonna say. I'll just be here minding my own business like Kermit the Frog.
No, we don't hang out without you. Not yet. But
not yet. Okay.
So me and Julius play a lot of fantasy football. So whenever you play fantasy football, sometimes you tend to go back and forth between games if your team's not playing. And I had a lot of AJ Brown in my fantasy football, and there were times where I was like, no way AJ Brown's going to go off today because they're playing this team and they have a good defense and they got a lockdown corner, and the dude would just still put up numbers. AJ Brown. Mm-hmm. And now that they got Julio Jones, I think AJ Brown's stock is going to be rising. Julio Jones still has it. He's 32 years old. If he can stay on the field, even if he's on the field and he's not 100%, he's still a good decoy because you still have to watch out for him. And you saw that with the Atlanta Falcons. Julio Jones has at least 3 or 4 good years left in him. And this is only going to help because you got Derrick Henry that can pound the ball. And now you got A.J. Brown on the other side. And now you got Julio Jones. And this is going to help Tannehill for sure. Play fantasy football.
I know. I wanted to point that out. I'm getting told to play fantasy. No,
Why?
No.
Yes.
I do not. No,
Why?
Hang on.
You're playing this year.
Julius.
This year.
No.
You're drafting a team.
He's not going to play.
What? Just please.
I have never had interest. I've never had interest for fantasy football. I really haven't. It's never drawn my attention. I just don't. I just don't like.
You're missing out,
my
friend. You're missing out.
I see you enough once a week, Julius. I really don't.
One. This is my main. This is my best sale I can give you for fantasy football. And if we're going up an elevator, I got 10 seconds, right? It gives you something else to do, but watch the Bears just look like complete garbage on the field. So it gives you.
All right, Wyatt. Finish your thought. It gives
Wyatt. You another interest in the game of football. You could switch from game to game, see what players are doing good. You don't have to care about Justin Fields throwing 3 picks. You don't have to care about Khalil Mack, just getting blocked by the Lions' awesome offensive line. You just ain't got to worry about these things.
What offensive line? Y'all have an offensive line?
I had to slide that in there, man. I got attacked 3 times in the first 30 minutes.
So this definitely helps the Titans out a lot because they can pound the ball with Derrick Henry, and now you got 2 deep receivers, or you got a decoy if Julio Jones is not 100%. And everyone's like, well, that's going to make them Super Bowl contenders. Well, if you watch the Titans last year, their defense was horrendous, awful, bad. So that's something. The Lions are not that bad. But I can't believe you posted that comment. But I think Julio Jones still is one of the top 10 receivers in the National Football League. He's not the top receiver anymore. There's a lot of people that passed him, but I can definitely put him in the top 10. And this is just going to make A.J. Brown become I think he's going to put up bigger numbers. I mean, you saw what Julio Jones did with Calvin Ridley in Atlanta, him being on the field. Calvin Ridley went off. I mean, Calvin Ridley is a good wide receiver, but having Julio Jones on the field, that's going to take a lot of heat off you. So I think this is a good trade for the Titans. They had to do it because their defense is horrendous, and they're going to need to score points. You guys are attacking Julius.
Listen, this does not sway me in any way. Okay.
I swear to God, this is not how we do this every week. At least not to this extent. I'm usually the one. I'm usually. I'm used to it. I am normally the one. I am normally the one who's out here saying Detroit Kitty Cats. Okay, Adam decided to comment on that. I
don't think I've ever even said that on this podcast.
Listen, guys. Let me give y'all a little known secret. All right. Growing up in Detroit, there was a lot of little Bears fans sprinkled around Detroit. Detroiters who had ties to Chicago in some way that made them a Bears fan or whatever. So, I'm not going to say I'm the biggest stranger to trash talking with Bears fans, especially because both our franchises have been inept for the last, few decades.
Just really quickly, I know we are talking sports, and I know this was on the agenda here for the show tonight. But for those who are watching the live stream, thank you very much again for tuning in. The Bucks are currently down, the Nets are up 45-25 with 9:02 left in the second right now. Milwaukee is getting destroyed as we speak, and it's not looking too good, at least when you look at the raw score here. But so for those who are watching, I see that Bucks Twitter is currently imploding as well. There's people on Twitter right now saying Giannis is absolute trash. That's how bad this is right now, guys. I mean, it's
those toxic Packer fans coming out of there.
It's not looking too good. So we will, yes, and we'll continue to monitor the score here. But again, the Bucks are currently down. They are trailing approximately 20 points in the second quarter. So
Aaron Rodgers haters have ascended on Giannis.
Well, there's news on Aaron Rodgers too.
There is, and we can certainly get on that too. Let's tackle it all. Since we're talking Bucks, we're talking Wisconsin. Let's just go ahead and comment and see what's going on. But yes, where are we going to start, fellas? We're going to do NBA. You guys want to do Aaron Rodgers first?
Let's just talk about NBA real quick. Who do you think is going to make the conference finals on each side there?
Obviously, I want the Bucks to do it. I think they could still do it. That is my delusional homer take. I'm in Milwaukee. I want to see Bruce City succeed. Yes, I'm a Bulls fan. Obviously, they're my first team in anything. But I think that if the Bucks were to make it all the way, that would be something really special for the city of Milwaukee. Here's this is what makes this NBA playoff series, all of them, really. This is what makes them so special. There was a graphic that came out. I forgot who posted it. It was like on Friday, I believe, Friday afternoon, and it was a listing of all of the cities or all of the teams were in the playoffs on Friday. Literally, basically, all of the teams on that list either have not won a championship, an NBA championship, or have not won one since, like, I know in Milwaukee's case, I think it was 1971 was the last time Milwaukee brought home a championship in the NBA. So all of the teams that are in, or that were in at least on Friday when that graphic came out, these are all teams that deserve this run, and that is what I said on Friday. I said, whatever happens, right? These playoff games are special, and I know I've punched air many times on LeBron, and I don't want to keep bringing him up, but I'm just going to make this last comment on LeBron. We don't have to talk about him again, but it's really, really refreshing to see that neither LeBron or Steph Curry or any of that they're not in the finals, that they're not in the playoffs anymore, because we need small market teams to compete. People on Twitter, on social media, are so quick to say, "Oh, small market teams, nobody gives a damn." No, people will tune in to good basketball, regardless of what city it is. People want to watch a good basketball game. It could be the backyard, neighborhood team. If they are playing a damn good basketball game at the basketball courts, literally right across the street from where I live at this park over here, God damn, people are going to line up to watch that game. I mean, it doesn't matter how big of a market you have. You give me good basketball, I'm going to watch. I mean, that's what I was trying to get my message across to people over the weekend too, because I kept seeing it, and I just want to reiterate it again on the show. Yes, I just punched air. I am very well aware of that. Julius or why? Go ahead.
I got a quip about the NBA, because I always find myself, the Pistons have not been good for the last decade. Okay. They've been, a gritty franchise. They've won 3 championships, but they haven't been good. And so my interest always falls in the underdog team. What's the team that has the longest shot to win? What's the team that city needs it the most? What's the team that has the least amount of superstars on their roster? That's who I am rooting for almost every NBA playoff bracket. And so from the looks of it, this playoff bracket, I wouldn't mind it being a Milwaukee-Atlanta NBA Finals. I would not mind that. Trae Young versus Giannis. Let's go. Both of those cities, haven't really won anything in a long time. And both of those cities, well, Atlanta is becoming a bigger market. Milwaukee is still medium sized, but neither of those. Milwaukee has Giannis, Jrue Holiday. They've constructed a great roster in Milwaukee. The same with Atlanta with Trae Young and John Collins. They've done well. They're going against Philly. I like Philly. I think they're pretty stacked, but I'm going for Atlanta. I'm always going for the underdog in the NBA playoffs, unless the Detroit Pistons are there. By the way, shout out to my Aunt Tina. I see you. Thanks for the comment. Go Pistons. The Pistons ain't been there in 10 years. So who am I going for? I'm going for the underdog every time, baby.
Go ahead, Wyatt. The floor is yours.
I really like your comments. I like the small market teams. The Brooklyn Nets. You got that super team over there. I really would have liked to see the Bucks in the conference finals. I think it's going to be the Nets. It's going to be the 76ers. Over there on the West Coast, Clippers are kind of like a super team as well. I'd like to see Phoenix. I really like the Phoenix play,
yes,
especially that Lakers series. I loved it. So I'd like to see
Absolutely.
the Utah and the Phoenix in the conference finals, but I think it's going to be the Clippers and Phoenix. But we need small market teams. You see it in baseball; those small market teams, end up getting hot and winning the World Series. So hopefully, we get some small market teams in the conference finals, and it is refreshing not to see LeBron James in any of the playoffs, and it's just for various reasons. But I don't like the super teams. I never liked the super teams or guys banding together and just trying to win a NBA Finals. I'm old school. I like I like the old school stuff that I saw in the 80s when I was still a young buck, and the 90s. So I like that. So I don't even have an NBA team anymore, unfortunately. It's weird because like I followed the Bulls. I was a Bulls fan because of Michael Jordan. And then like he retired, then he went back to the Wizards, and like now I don't really have a team. I guess you could say I could root for the Bulls, but I don't feel like I would be like I'm a loyal fan to be a Bulls fan or something like that. It's weird. I mean, it's the only sports team I don't have is a basketball team. I guess you could say the Bulls because I did follow. I was a Bulls fan. Michael Jordan.
Go be a Suns fan. Go be a Suns fan, Wyatt.
Yeah, that's true.
I just mentioned you both in a video. Sorry, while you were talking, I just wanted you to guys to look at it. But that is live coverage, ladies and gentlemen, of Blake Griffin dunking on Giannis a few moments ago in the Brooklyn and Bucks game. Blake freaking Griffin.
It looked like Giannis just took it. Blake didn't even get up that high.
Exactly. Oh my God. The
legend of Blake Griffin made Giannis duck.
I just saw that. I apologize. I saw that and I am in shock. Ladies and gentlemen, the Nets are now up 52-33 in the second quarter.
It's surprising with Harden out.
Yes, and Harden is out. Yes, that is actually a really good point, Wyatt, because I had completely forgotten that James Harden was out today with hamstring issues. Right, I think it was his hamstring. Yes. I really quickly before we move on to I know there was some Aaron Rodgers news as well, and again we are following the score for those who are watching live, 54-33 here in the second quarter for that. Let's talk Aaron Rodgers real quick. Andy is a diehard Packers fan. I know Andy personally. Julius and Wyatt, I think you guys know who Andy is as well. He is one of the very few Packer fans that I have talked to who actually legitimately wants Aaron Rodgers out of Green Bay. As you can see on the comment on the screen right there. Bye-bye, Rodgers. Leave, just leave. All right. Aaron Rodgers is missing football activity tomorrow up at Lambeau, right? I think it's mandatory training, if I'm not mistaken. That's what it is up in Green Bay. He's missing this, and of course, everyone on Twitter is already, going off on, oh my God, like the speculation of Aaron Rodgers not being there. It's going to be bad. I mean, where are we at? Like, where are we at in this whole saga right now? Like, is it over? Is it not over? I mean, where does it end? Where does it end?
Aaron Rodgers. If you want to leave Green Bay, deuces. Sayonara. I don't want to see your face in the
don't let the door
ever again.
Don't let the door hit you on your way out.
I hope, and then listen. You know what that would make the Packers? The Packers would all of a sudden become the Bears. Well, they have this young quarterback, a rookie, pretty much still haven't thrown the pass. Jordan Love, just like they're going to be dependent on their franchise livelihood with the arm of a young quarterback. Jordan Love, Justin Fields. The Packers will become the Bears, and it will open up the door for the Lions. But anyways, Aaron Rodgers, if you want to leave, hey, be gone. I know it's stressing Packer fans out. They trying to act brave, but guess what? The MVP of the league, probably the greatest thrower of the football of all time, the greatest arm talent, Aaron Rodgers does not want to play for your franchise anymore. It might hurt because I know y'all wear the cheese on y'all head. You know what I'm saying? Y'all got Lambeau, all the snow. Y'all had Brett Favre before this. How lucky are y'all? Y'all have had some great times, just haven't really pulled it out. Y'all losing a lot of NFC championship. I think, 3 in a row now, 4 in a row. I lose count. I can
lose
understand, I can understand a Packers stress, but my message is I am enjoying it. I'm enjoying watching every bit of this. You know, I don't know. I'm a lot, the Aaron Rodgers. I've had some horrible memories of Aaron Rodgers as the quarterback of the Packers as a Lions fan, to be honest. I remember he done beat us by himself dozens of times. And just that smirky grin, that little smug grin he give you. I done talked about it on the show many times. I dislike Aaron Rodgers very much. I mean, if he wants to leave the Packers and go play somewhere else, deuces.
My thoughts is Aaron Rodgers has had a chip on his shoulder ever since he came in the league. I mean, he got drafted in the 20s by the Packers, and the dude's cocky, yeah, and he's rightfully so cocky. This is my thoughts. It's like maybe he thinks, oh, I can go to Denver or something, and I can win a championship. But the Packers give him the best chance to win a Super Bowl with the talent they have, offensive and defensive. It would blow my mind if they traded him, because that's his best chance right now. I mean, it's not it's basically the off season's done. Now it's like OTAs. I mean, I know you can still trade and acquire players, but when Tom Brady went to the Bucs, you saw them, this person want to play with them, this person want to play with them, but it's too late. Like, if you get traded to the Broncos, I mean, do you have enough weapons to compete? The AFC is a tough division. Now, Julius's point, without Aaron Rodgers, unfortunately, the Packers still have a good roster, and they're not the Bears, right? They still have Aaron Jones, Devontae Adams. The defensive side of the ball is still pretty good. You got Tanyan. So I'm not a Packers fan whatsoever, but I'm a realist, and I know they still have a good roster, even without Aaron Rodgers. And last point is I'm a competitive person. So even though I would be nice to see Aaron Rodgers out of the division, I still want him in a Packers uniform, not a Bears uniform. And I still want the Bears to beat him, but that never happens. I'm a competitive person. I would want to beat the brakes off of him. Put him in
Get that voodoo out of here, Wyatt. Aaron Rodgers leave. He destroys both our teams. How many years have he destroyed both of our teams?
When was the last time the Lions beat the Packers?
Was it last season or season before last? I think we split with them the season before last. I'm not sure. It might have been last season. It's very few in between.
I do recall there was a season when I think you guys did beat them. And I remember, God, I'm never going to forget how those games were. The what do you call it? The field goal that when they missed, they shanked the field goal or whatever.
I'm gonna Google it.
Yes, please go. Let's Google it. But,
listen, the refs are always up the Packers and Aaron Rodgers b-holes, okay? Y'all know that, right? You know how many games the Lions done lost, not just because of Aaron Rodgers, but because of Aaron Rodgers and the refs. But I attest.
December 30th, 2018. The Lions 31, Packers 0. The Lions shut out the Packers for the first time since 1973 at Lambeau for the first time. Dang.
So really quickly, guys, I was not expecting this, but we have a very special guest who would like to just say a quick word, and then we'll start wrapping up the show. This is Andy, guys. Andy from diehard Packers fan. Julius is very aware of who he is. He used to talk trap to him on our old podcast back in the day. But I really quickly just needed to get a Packers perspective in this because we've got Bears, we've got Lions, now we got the Packers. We don't have room for Vikings fans on here because we don't like Vikings fans. Just kidding. Andy, how are you? Welcome to the show.
Good. How are you guys doing?
Welcome. Good.
Yeah.
What's up, Andy?
Why do you want Aaron Rodgers?
What?
Why do you want Aaron Rodgers out of Green Bay?
I'm just tired of his antics. I think that Jordan Love has progressed a lot, and I just kind of want to see him play. I also really would like those first-round picks also. That'd be pretty nice.
You know, it's really interesting to hear a Packers fan who, you know, objectively just wants Aaron Rodgers to leave because, you know, so many Packer fans that I have talked to, who I have spoken with here in Wisconsin, are 100% adamantly behind, you know, standing behind Aaron Rodgers and wanting him to not leave Green Bay. But then, obviously, everyone else in the NFC North is like, we hope Aaron Rodgers leaves. I mean, that's the expectation that we all have. That's the hope that we all have.
But then what if Jordan Love comes out and, like, plays crazy? Then what?
Well, that's, you know, and that's part of the quote unquote risk, right? And all, yeah, anything can happen. It's just it's always just interesting to hear, right, from a Packer fan themselves, who say, goodbye, Aaron Rodgers. We don't want you here anymore, or I don't want you here anymore. You know, because you really don't get that perspective. But go ahead.
Yeah, I wouldn't say I don't want him. I'm just like I'm just ready. Like if he's traded, that's great. You know, leave.
Right.
But if and Detroit and Chicago are not compete for NFC North. Anyways, no, I don't think that Jordan Love's going to be bad at all. I think it might take some time. I mean, if you guys remember, they were talking about how he needed time to grow into an NFL quarterback. And this offseason, they've been working really hard on him. His quarterback coach has already said that he's improved a lot. Same with Robert Tonyan and a lot of other coaches in Green Bay. So that also instills my confidence in him. So, I mean, I might be crazy, but that's just what I think.
Hey, Andy, I can relate with you. I can relate with you, man. You know how I can relate with you? Because last season, the Lions was dealing with not really this kind of situation, but there was a question, was it time to move on from our veteran quarterback? And if we can get a lot of draft ammo for him, then the answer was yes. And that's exactly what we did. We got 2 first-round picks the next 2 years from the LA Rams. It was well worth it. So I don't blame you, man.
I think with Matt LaFleur and his offensive prowess, I can't even say that right now. I think Jordan Love could do good with the weapons they have there. So I can see your point on that one. But you're talking about Aaron Rodgers.
I am. I'm also talking about Jordan Love.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He could be very good. I mean, we don't know. Like, that's the thing.
Right.
And I think he would need honestly, my opinion, I would say year 3 would be the year to start him. Like maybe have Rodgers if he comes back for a year, and then Jordan Love next year. I still think he needs another year, but that's just my opinion.
Oh no, that's mine too. But like, you know, I'm just ready to see him gone. You know, like I'm tired of him doing this. You know, it's just getting old. And like, I love his play. I've talked to Juan about this plenty. I love his play, but I'm just tired of how he's acting. Like it gets annoying. It's like, oh, I wonder if he's actually happy or if he's not. And then you get mad over Jake Kummerow of all people. Like, it doesn't make sense. But I will say that he will be back this year. There's no doubt about it. Like, I already know he is. It would be senseless for them to trade him. And he wants to play football still, you know?
Just for the record, real quick, Jake Kummerow and I went to the same university here in Wisconsin Whitewater. No, you of all people do not give me. You're not going to give me sass on my own podcast. That is not going to happen.
I will.
All right. Well, Andy, you can stick around here for the. This is the last point, the final point of the show. On Point Discussions, final take, powered by Fanatics. Remember to visit fanatics.com, and we'll drop a link here probably later tonight, so that you guys can get some awesome merchandise off of the website using our personalized Lounge Room Network link. But Andy, thank you for coming on. And again, you're more than welcome to stick around here for this final segment of the show, which today is presented by Julius. He's going to give us the final take, and then we will we'll give some minor comments here or there, depending on what Julius says to get us riled up here. But yeah, the floor is yours. And just really quickly, halftime in the Bucks and Brooklyn Nets game. For those who are watching, the Brooklyn Nets are up 65-41 at the half. Julius, the floor is yours, sir. Go for it.
Thank you, Juan. So, final take tonight. A couple days ago, I was alerted of a graphic. I'm not sure where the graphic is from. I think all sports culture is labeled on the graphic, and on the graphic, it states each state's win percentage. If states that have professional sports teams, their collective sports teams win percentage as a whole, and it's very interesting. 24 states listed. You have some states on the list that only have a few teams. They only have 2 teams, like Nevada, like Washington, like Louisiana with the Saints and the Pelicans. And these states are third, fourth, and 6th on the list because they have one team that's just been so good over the last 10 years or the last. This was just the last 5 years or so. Mm-hmm. But then you have number 1. You have the state of Wisconsin. I thought that was very, very interesting. For those who do not know, I have ties to Wisconsin. I used to spend summers in Madison. I visit Milwaukee all the time. I got family that live there. I am very aware of the Bucks, the Brewers, and the Packers, especially the Packers. I think Wisconsin. I'm gonna say this live on air right now. Okay, so record it if you can. I think Wisconsin is an underrated underrated sports state, underrated. Milwaukee, Green Bay, underrated sports cities. Like I think that they deserve more shine than they get. And you know, even the Brewers. I mean, the Brewers have a heavy fan base that go to games consistently. The Bucks, people forget Kareem used to play for them. They got NBA titles from 50 years ago. You know, it's a storied franchise. So just shout out to Wisconsin that's on the list at number 1. With the 651 combined win percentage over the last 5 years from all their teams. And now I'm going to move to the other side of the spectrum of the list. And at last on the list, at number 24, is my home state, my beloved great state of Michigan. With a putrid 353 combined win percentage amongst their 4 teams. We have a team in all 4 major sports, unlike some of those other teams that's at the top of the list who only has 1 or 2 teams that's just killing. The Michigan has 4 teams. We have 4 teams that have contributed to this. The Red Wings, the Pistons, the Tigers, and the Lions have all been amongst the worst in their respective sports for like the last decade. All 4 teams are currently in a rebuild, all 4, and it's rough. But I just don't want people to forget how great of a sports city Detroit is, okay? As far as the history, y'all can talk crap to me on Twitter, but there's a reason that the Lions fan base is so passionate because we've been around for almost 100 years too, you know? So, the times will get better. But yes, I just wanted to highlight this graphic. I think it's very interesting because I'm a city guy. I'm a places guy. And, it's always interesting to see, which cities can really, I guess, quote unquote, really talk the most when it comes to their sports teams. And Wisconsin, they should have the most to say because their teams have been the best over the last half decade. So Missouri with the Chiefs and the Cardinals and the Royals, they've all been good. They're number 2 right behind Wisconsin. And then you have Texas, who has 8 teams. Texas has 8 professional sports teams, almost double of what Detroit is. They're right behind Detroit at number 23, and their teams have been pretty bad as a collective. So I just thought that was an interesting graphic I want to share for my final take today. Thanks.
Julius wants a cookie.
I do. Chocolate chip, macadamia, sugar. I take them all.
What about a cheese cookie?
Listen, Detroit sports will be back. We will be back in full force. It was not long ago that 3 of our 4 teams were contending for titles. The Tigers, the Red Wings, who own the longest winning streak for playoffs in sports history, and the Pistons, who are winning titles, and going to the finals every year, just like 10, 15 years ago. Not that long ago. The Lions, another story. Y'all want to talk to me about the Lions? We've talked about the Lions the whole show. There's no need to talk about the Lions. Y'all talk to me about the Lions in the beginning of the show. Y'all talk to me about the Lions in the middle of the show. There's no need to end the show on the Lions, okay? I just wanted to shed some light on y'all teams, okay? And I didn't mention Illinois because I didn't want to talk about the Bears because we also been talking about their trash selves as well. Thanks for coming on and guesting, Andy. I hope Aaron Rodgers leaves for your sake and mine.
Ladies and gentlemen, Andy Gilbert makes a brief guest appearance here on the show. At Andy Gilbert 1994, I believe, is your Twitter handle.
I don't know, sure.
Yes. Okay, well, if it's not, then thoughts and prayers, whoever you guys follow is not Andy.
Thoughts and prayers.
We're about an hour and 20 minutes into the live show. Remember to follow the Twitter page at Talks on Point, at Lounge Room Net for the network as a whole. Wyatt at the Cornelia 7, Julius at the 5th top, and of course yours truly at Bears Fanatico 94. Ladies and gentlemen, have a great rest of your evening. Stay safe, and of course, remember we are watching the Bucks game, and the Bucks are currently losing bad in Brooklyn. Stay tuned for some additional episodes this week. I will be hosting some solo one-on-one episodes coming up here in the next few days. Not tomorrow, Wednesday, and then Thursday. We got a very special episode on Thursday night. Very much look forward to that one. And Friday we'll have another episode, but that one's gonna be a little bit different. I'll keep you posted on what we're gonna do there. But in the meantime, everyone have a great rest of your night. Stay safe, and as is custom here on the show, on the way to end the show, go Bears.
Go Pack, go.